Yo, guys. So we actually fucking did it. We actually managed to get the sub 29. Man, I did quite a few attempts between this and like my previous PBs. This was a lot harder than I had anticipated. But yeah, ended up getting it. I'm not gonna spoil the final time just yet. Because I think that it's a little bit more exciting for you YouTube viewers if you don't know just yet. So yeah, I wanted to do some commentary over it, even though this run was done live, so I was talking and shit, but didn't really feel like the stuff that I said during the run really had any like relevance to what was going on, and I thought it would just be confusing that it was out of context, like in the middle of a discussion. Yeah. So thought I would add some commentary because I think that it's appreciated. I'll try to actually say some shit about the run in a bit instead of just rambling. Yeah, so between this run and my previous run, I don't really think I made any changes to the plan overall. Like, I was gonna try and continue more runs, which you'll see on this one. This could potentially have been a reset, like quite early, but I ended up continuing it. But yeah, we start up with a pretty good tutorial, and you know, there's not so much to say in the early game. Like, I can try and talk about some of the new ideas. Like, the main new thing that I've been working on that I also did in my previous PB, but I might have not done as well as I do now, is the 27 hit ogre strat, also known as Chinese ogre strat. It's kind of an interesting one. It's like a AI manipulation in a way. When ogre is turning like to face you, which he usually will do for a few seconds, like he'll spend a few seconds turning around to face you when you're strafing around him. But when he's doing that, he actually recovers posture. And by not strafing around him, but instead staying in front of him, you can save one hit total. And that saves a bit of time. But obviously you can't just stare at him and attack, because he'll do stuff to you as well. So you gotta do some like pretty interesting maneuvers. So here I do a specific setup that staggers him. And then I'll turn away here, but I'm still facing him, so at this point he hasn't really had time to recover. He recovers a little bit here, but this RNG wasn't particularly good, but he did not like recover enough. So it's still like a pretty decent fight, even though the RNG is bad. Yeah, ideally, like, you do this. You stay in front of him at the very start to try and bait out his slam, and then you stagger him out of it, and then you do that so you minimize his chance of doing another slam, because when he does it, it gets on like a cooldown. Alright, so here is like the big mistake that I made in the early stage of the run, which is I missed double canyon. Like, it's really precise, so yeah, I just couldn't get it. I ended up continuing either way, but it cost a lot of time. Because then you have to like dodge the snake and shit. Especially when you go for it and give it a few attempts and then miss it, and then have to go for the, you know, the backup, then it's like really slow. I lost 14 seconds here. Quite bad, but as you can tell by the best possible time, it is still definitely possible to PB. I just need to not make more big mistakes and can definitely PB. Yeah, so the ogre thing is like the biggest new thing, I guess. Like Gyobu is like, I've been playing him like I do in this run for like a year or some shit. But yeah, I'm basically doing 7 hits at the start, doing them in a specific way to make him run the right way, and then I again try to bait him to run this way over towards Tengu, where we want to go next. And again, moving towards Tengu. Here, I actually hit a headshot because he gave me an RNG that is usually quite bad if you cannot hit a headshot. But if you can hit a headshot, it's good. You are limited to how many hits you can go for because he'll stagger after 9. And after he staggers, he always runs away. And him running away is very slow. But if you can get a headshot, which is like almost, it's 3 times as much damage or 4 times as much as hitting his horse. Like if you hit the horse, it's slightly less damage than if you hit the body of Gyobu. And if you hit Gyobu's head, so not the horse head but the rider's head, you do even more, like massive amount of damage. Yeah. So that was actually a pretty good fight. Like I ended up saving a bit of time. I was only 1 second behind my best Gyobu ever, so that's actually really nice. He did give me some good RNG on second phase, and phase 1 was only good because of the headshot. That headshot was kind of clutch, not gonna lie. Yeah. Continuing on, I changed my split here, so I split on Tengu instead of the door. Most people split on the door, but this is a 631 door. And then I'm also, I think I do the, okay, no, I didn't. There's like a little jump you can do here that reduces your chances of getting shot, which I'm gonna start doing from now on, probably. I just didn't bother going for it this run because I didn't feel like it. If you get shot, it's not too bad. It just means that you need to heal, which costs like a second. It's not too bad. And it's not every time, of course, it's only sometimes. It depends on what the bull does. Like sometimes you can get away with not healing, but yeah. Pretty decent bull. No problems there. Like that's pretty much like the story of this run is that I did very solidly, I think, on many parts. And then we just had like that big mistake with missing double canyon. In the future, I'm still gonna continue runs like this where I miss double canyon. But at the same time, it's like it gets, you know, harder and harder to get a PB without double canyon, the better your time is. Yeah, we made it up to Genichiro. Here I'm doing the 180 strat, the walk my Geni strategy, as the creator has dubbed it. I don't want to say it's a new strat, but there's not a lot of people who do it. It is quite hard on controller in my opinion, so, or in my, from what I can tell. So it's usually keyboard and mouse players like me and C4 who do it. I don't know really, I don't think any controller players are currently doing it with much effect, but it does save like around 2 seconds on average, and sometimes it can even save up to 3, which is kind of a lot for like this category, saving 2 or 3 seconds. Like you can see where my personal best was at. It was 29:04, so I only needed 5 seconds to get below 29, which was the goal. Alright. taking down Ginitro, no problem. Pretty decent fight. I only got one lightning, but it's fine. If I'd gotten 2 lightnings, it would have been obviously a lot faster, but you can't get double lightning every time. So I'm just happy that he didn't give some bad RNG. I've had fights where he just like doesn't give any lightning and just you know, starts out the fight with the worst attacks, and it's just really annoying. Right, talking to Kuru. Some people have asked why you need to do this, like also why you need to talk to Tengu after fighting Gyobu. All of that is basically to unlock the monkeys fight. The monkeys fight is activated by a prompt. So if that prompt is not available, then you cannot enter the fight. And the prompt is activated, or it's made available after you complete this like sequence of dialogue with Ishin here. And he won't appear here unless you first talk to Tengu and give an answer to his quest, either accepted or rejected, and then talk to Kuru after defeating Genichiro, and then, you know, you go here. That's one of the things that you might not know unless you're unless you've speedrun the game yourself or have, you know, played it a lot, because my experience with most players who ask this, or most people who ask this question, they're like, oh, I just did all of that on my own without thinking about it, and so I never knew that you needed to do that. That's kind of what most people, you know, experience with their first playthrough. And that's the same case for me, I think. I don't exactly remember how it went down on my first playthrough, but I was never like wondering, you know, oh, why did this, why was the prompt not active or whatever then, but it is now. Like, yeah. It makes sense from the developer perspective, because they want you to engage a little bit with the lore. But as a speedrunner, I don't need the lore. I already know what's going on. Alright. Moving towards Senpo. This is one of the segments where you should not be losing time, but I have been losing time. It's basically just like running in a straight line and then fighting a boss. But it's kind of one of the longer segments in the run. I believe it is actually the longest segment. Yeah, it is. 3 minutes and 16, 17 seconds or more. So it is natural that you will lose a little bit of time just from like micro mistakes adding up, and sometimes you make like a more noticeable mistake also. Like, that's also why when you see at the start of the run that my best possible time is 28:10 or 28:11, like, that's not really a realistic best possible time to get. It just, you know, that's if I was a machine, then I would get that, but yeah, you, like, usually for me, I lose like maybe 2 seconds every minute of gameplay if I'm playing well. So that means that if my sum of best or best possible time is 28 flat, then I might get like a 29. That's like if I play pretty well, and then I need to play very well if I need to go below that. And the world record level is, you know, you only lose a second per minute of gameplay. But that's absolutely insane. Like, even like the current world record, when it was set, because since then we have made some optimizations and such, so now like you could potentially like beat the world record by a bit, but when it was set, it was like really insane. Like, it felt like he didn't really lose time. It felt like he saved, or sorry, lost only like half a second per minute of gameplay. Like imagine that, like you play for a minute and you only make half a second worth of mistake. Like half a second, that's like you misclick on like an item in the menu and then, oh, I have to click it again. Like that's half a second gone, and that's like over a minute. Over a full minute of doing difficult stuff even, like not just doing, you know, menuing or dialogue. Oh, see, this is a type of mistake that I'm talking about, like kind of what you might call dumb mistakes. Like these, they happen, like you're focusing on one thing, like, and then you get fucked by another thing, like it happens. Can't beat yourself up too much about small mistakes. Like this run is good, even though it's like very red. It's a good run. Like at this point, like I know that generally the tendency for speedrunners is to complain whenever they go in the red, and yeah, I was definitely doing some complaining too, but like in all honesty, like this run is, there's nothing wrong with it. Like I got not like god RNG, but good RNG, and I played well. And here comes probably the hardest trick of the run, the Glitchless monkeys, where you gotta hit them both in air, and then you gotta kill both of them without them running away. That worked out pretty well. You can do it with one less hit, but yeah, it's like completely fine how I did it. And then we catch this guy. We used to go around and then backstab him, but it's actually a little faster to catch him down here and then hit him 4 times. So, yeah. Also, like when we did the backstab thing of running around, you also had like a chance of getting memed by the phantom monkeys that run around, but they can't do anything with this strat, so that's nice. Alright, get Mortal Draw, so we can start destroying some bosses. And also upgrade our attack power and unlock mid-air combat arts, so that we can do the giga damage Mortal Draw. Very much a staple in the speedruns. Also, something that I learned recently is that, you know, when I'm speedrunning, like, I won't always pay attention to what it is that I just did, because I'll be focusing on the next thing. And I'll have done that menuing, like, in, like, a pretty fast manner. And then I'll be like, did I remember everything? Did I equip Mortal Draw? And as it turns out, you can actually see down in the right-hand corner that I actually have a combat art equipped. You can see a little sword. That's actually, that icon means that I don't know if it means that something is equipped or if it's precisely Mortal Draw that's equipped, but either way, for this speedrun, like, you can just look there and see if you remember to equip it. Like, if you have to open the inventory to check for it, that's a little bit slow, because, you know, the game gets paused and you stop sprinting when you do that in this game. Unlike in, like, Dark Souls or Elden Ring. I got the first jump, but then I missed that, like, delayed jump off of the grapple point. But it's fine, I know this backup, where you jump across the icicles. It loses a little bit of time, but there's no chance of getting shot. That's the most important thing. Alright. Move up here. Try to avoid getting shot. I got shot once. You can imagine that if I had been shot earlier, it would have been real bad. Actually, there I almost get shot again. When I'm jumping over that, like, little part of the bridge, like the railing, I always, like, if I can hear that the gunners are about to shoot, or if I can feel it, it's kind of like an intuition thing. Then I just like deflect out in the air, and sometimes you get a block or a deflect. This strat worked out pretty well. I did do a jump here. Oh yeah, I did get the backstab. Yeah, getting the backstab is a little faster than just getting a normal death blow. So I jumped like on the final mortal draw there. You don't actually need to jump. You can just do a standing one, which is slightly faster, but he'll turn around and you'll get the death blow in his face. And that animation is a little bit less favorable than getting the backstab one. So I jumped into his back to stagger him, and that meant that he couldn't turn around. And then I got the backstab death blow to save a tiny, tiny sliver of time. But hey, those are the time saves that you need to go for at this level, so... You know, still quite a bit off world record, but... I'm not gonna say that I would be able to get it right now, because I definitely wouldn't. Like, I'm not quite there yet. But I think if I grinded this category seriously for some months, maybe half a year, I think I could potentially contest it. But for the moment, I don't know if I want to do that. Like, it's very stressful when you go online, go on stream to play for like 4 or 6 hours or even more. And then at the end of the session, you didn't do anything. You didn't get a new PB. You felt like maybe you even regressed because you were making dumb mistakes that you didn't the day before. And so, you know, it's very much a mental battle, this with speedrunning. I honestly think the mental aspect when you're grinding for a top time is... Like, the mental aspect is the bigger challenge than compared to like the skill and the knowledge needed. Alright, we did the no Akko strat there, where we jump over her twice. This was like a big time save over my PB, because I actually died here. She hit me while I was jumping over her. And so now we're actually back in the green. Pretty fucking nice. This was kind of why I've been continuing these runs, because I know that I have time save in the late game. And so at this point, the pace is actually looking like quite optimistic. Like, I'm 2 seconds ahead, and I can see that I have a few seconds to save on here. If you look at where, like, if you look at the smaller timer underneath the big timer, you can see across from that, it says PB 3 minutes and best 2 minutes and 55 seconds. The PB means what time I got on this part of the run in my PB. So that was 3 minutes. And then my best ever, or my gold on this, is 2 minutes and 55 seconds. So I have around 5 seconds to save here. 2:55 is quite good, so I don't expect to get a 2:55, but I can probably get a 2:56 pretty consistently, 2:57. And saving time on this sort of segment where you're just running, it's basically free, right? There are definitely mistakes that you can make. In my PB, I missed the jump up to Miss Noble, and so that cost me the 5 seconds. And I got it first try this time, so that time save has basically already been claimed. And I have a little bit more time save later. I have some time save on Guardian Ape, and Emma and Ishin, I won't say that there's time save, but you know, you can always do them a little better. Like, because they're at the very end of the run, the chance that you'll have a perfect fight after doing a full run is like quite low. Usually, you know, you can have the best run and you'll come to the end and you'll have like a mediocre fight. And you can lose some time there. You really need to do a lot of attempts and finish a lot of runs to be able to get a good Emma Ishin at the end of your PB. RNG does matter quite a lot on this category, so like you need to play a lot. But at the same time, skill also matters a fuck ton, because if the RNG is in a place where, let's say, only 1 in 5 runs or 1 in 10 runs will make it. That means that you need to play you need to play 5 to 10 times as many good runs to be able to get your PB than if there was no RNG, right? If you could play perfectly every single run, or you need to play perfectly every single run if you want to get just one perfect run. It's not like where you can just like bash out one perfect run and then that's it. You know, that's the end of the speedrun's history. Then no one's ever gonna beat it again. Nah, that's not how it works. You need to do a lot of near perfect runs to get like a near perfect time. And it's very unreasonable in these types of games to get an actual perfect run. Because, you know, just the chances, you know, of like getting all the perfect RNG. It's just like, even if you look at a run and say, yeah, this is very good RNG, then you can still look at it and find like maybe like 5 seconds that could have been saved more with better RNG. And an additional point is that usually the better RNGs make it easier to play. So on the runs where you didn't get good RNG, you might also make some further mistakes in your play because the RNGs, like you basically need to do backups, and backups can often be more difficult than the main strat. That's not always the case, but usually it requires you to know more, and also sometimes people don't really practice, you know, the backup strat. So sometimes you might go for the backup strat and find that you're quite inefficient at doing it, and you'll just lose time for no reason. Because basically everything does have a backup strat. But I'm pretty good with my backups, but I'm not like a god or anything. Like, I'll definitely get the mental problems when I make a mistake. I'll be like, fuck! And then I'll like make another mistake immediately after because I get frustrated. You gotta really focus up on these. Yeah, I got a really good ape here. I managed to get all the headshots with my jumping mortal draws. So he died very quickly, and I got a quick death blow. And so I ended up getting a small little gold and saved a good bit of time. Yeah, so now just going to Emma and Ishin. I see actually that I did have a bit of time save on Emma. So, you know, if we look at best possible time, at this point I wasn't really that nervous because, like, there is quite a lot of headroom. Obviously, if I die, then it's, you know, no chance of getting a sub 29, but I can play safe and get it. And I think I play like somewhat safe, at least on Emma. Emma can be quite predictable because she's fast. I messed up this, which loses a little bit of time. It's not too bad. Definitely at this point, when you miss something like that, you cannot let it affect you. You cannot get frustrated by it because you'll completely ruin your nerves. I know that when I make a mistake on a good pace, I get more nervous, and when I play well, I get more confident when I'm like in that point of, you know, getting shaky and such, and the adrenaline's pumping. So at this point, I mean, I wasn't really that nervous, but, you know, I definitely, you know, see, I make some mistakes here, I get blocked and deflected. Like the strat that I'm doing here, which I get into now, is like a loop that's supposed to have her, you know, block, and then you get a body hit. Had to do this insane iframe there. And this was not very good, but at the same time, as long as it's not a death, it is okay. Moving on to Ishin. Popping the Yash before the fight starts, so I can hop off with the MDs immediately. Get some health damage on him early to hurt his posture recovery. Then we're trying to look for a deflect death blow. Yes. So that we can do the strat where we hit him 5 times. Then jump deflect. And mortal drop before we land on the ground, so they count, or at least the first one counts as a jumping MD. And then strafe around him and do one final MD. And that's the run. I wonder what the final time will be. Well, you already know it's a sub 29. So I'll just leave it to my reaction from here. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Ooh-wee. Boom, bitch! Fuck yeah, let me get the chat back on, sorry. Fuck this game. Boom! Miss Double Canyon, fucking hell! This is a sub 29 for you without Double Canyon. Oh. Woohoo! Oh man. I guess that's the objective completed of getting sub 29. No airsman blabbing. No. I gotta beat the Americans. The Americans have to be beaten. Look. As I said, I was in Arrhythmic's chat and he said that he's waiting for me to bop him. So, therefore, I need to do the exact same run, except I need to hit Double Canyon. And then boom, we're Gucci. Oh, thank you for the GGs, man.